This reflection takes a look at our collaborative process for Connect Studios and our in-session live experiments. Overall, our collaboration has been quite strong. We've been able to be quite open and quick about our experiments, which has worked out well. I would say the biggest thing that hasn't worked well is that we're often a bit too quick to get into our experiments, and we don't take as much time working on the how-to and all the tiny bits and details that have to be put into them. At times, we moved too quickly into our production, which led to moments that didn't feel so refined or rehearsed that we could have done better looking back on it. We also had some communication issues between our on-screen talent and our camera operators, which led to people being on the wrong page. My role focused on the structuring of subjects and the generating of new ideas. It was my job to make sure that everything had a direction and a purpose. I also found that I really liked the camera work, which helped me learn more about the timing and framing. This also made me realize how important it was to have a plan in place for all the cameras, because when that is not done, then we just are not going to get all the shots that we wanted. If I could improve on one thing, I would say we should probably go a bit slower in our pre-production to ensure that everything that we're doing live is exactly how and what we wanted. Our first experiment was a game show that was based on the cost of fuel in the Illawarra. However, the atmosphere felt a bit off and a bit awkward.
Maybe like Fairy Meadow.
Yeah, Fairy Meadow, final guess?
That's my guess.
You would be incorrect. That is Windang, guys.
I think our angles on cameras weren't fantastic and it was a bit too quiet. In the future, I would say we have in some more sound effects and we make it a bit more conversational. Our second experiment was a more conversational discourse where our guest and our host were also drawing a portrait of each other. I think in this one, our conversation was much more flowy and our camera angles were much more refined. However, it did feel like we didn't really have a host and it was a bit too conversational at times. And I feel like if we had a proper host who was asking proper questions, it would have made it a bit more engaging. A big flaw was a reveal of the portraits at the end was actually missed.
This is you.
And our operators weren't able to capture those shots. In future, we need more communication with our camera operators. Our third experiment actually built off of our first one. And we hosted a game show between people from the Illawarra and Wollongong. However, similarly to our first two, we rushed into our experiment without enough pre-production. This meant that the end result wasn't as refined as we wanted. We should have prepped our guests a bit better and had a more refined production plan. I think that across our experiments, there's been a clear progression. Our first one had structure, but lacked the conversation. Our second one had the conversation, but lacked a bit in the final is structuring. And our third one was trying to combine those to make something that has them both. My biggest takeaway is how closely linked structure and production is. It's been really easy to see how having both of these can make a much higher level of production. And moving forward, I want to work on how I structure my segments and ensure that I'm giving as much detail as I can. I also want to improve on my camera work so that I can be a bit more efficient in capturing key moments. I think that combining these will have the biggest impact on our final production.